Robert De Niro built one of the most respected legacies in Hollywood history, with 2 Academy Awards and an iconic resume that defined an entire era of cinema.
Me and all the other actors and everyone on the film, all the love and trust that anyone could give anyone, and it's just wonderful as a director.
But in the 2020s, his acting took a back seat to something else, a growing obsession with political outbursts. His public unraveling began in earnest at the 2018 Tony Awards, when De Niro walked on stage and declared,
"I'm gonna say one thing, f*** Trump."
The audience gave a standing ovation. The rest of America, not so much. From that point on, De Niro doubled down. In a 2019 interview with The Guardian, he called Trump supporters beyond hope. He later told the Daily Beast in 2020 that he hoped Trump would die in prison. These statements dominated headlines, not film reviews. The blowback wasn't immediate, but by the time Amsterdam hit theaters in 2022, the effect was undeniable. Despite an all-star cast and $80 million budget, the film grossed just $14.9 million worldwide. About My Father, 2023, fared worse, earning just $12 million. In 2025, The Alto Knights, a gangster epic with De Niro in dual roles, opened to under $10 million, despite a $45 million budget. One critic called it the quietest flop of the year. Hollywood analysts have since labeled De Niro's image as box office poison for middle America. Even loyal fans began to ask, when was the last time he played a character that wasn't just himself? Shia Labeouf. Once hailed as the next DiCaprio, Shia Labeouf went from Disney Channel teen star to Michael Bay's $4 billion Transformers juggernaut almost overnight. By 2010, he was a bona fide Hollywood leading man.
Maybe it's just me. Equatorial Guinea's a pretty tough dictatorship.
But instead of building on that momentum, Labeouf detonated it. In January 2017, just days after Donald Trump's inauguration, Labeouf launched a live stream protest art installation titled "He Will Not Divide Us." The project invited the public to chant the phrase into a camera outside the Museum of the Moving Image in New York. Within a week, the exhibit spiraled into chaos. Far-right trolls hijacked the stream, fights broke out, and Labeouf was arrested on camera after shoving a man who had said,
"Hitler did nothing wrong."
The museum shut the exhibit down after 20 days, citing it as a flashpoint for violence. That wasn't his only meltdown. In 2019, Labeouf staged another performance art project that involved isolating himself in a cabin and watching all of his own films consecutively. Around the same time, multiple plagiarism allegations and bizarre interviews painted him as volatile and unstable. But the final blow came in December 2020, when singer FKA Twigs filed a lawsuit accusing Labeouf of sexual battery, assault, and emotional abuse. Netflix swiftly pulled Pieces of a Woman from its award campaign, and he was dropped by his agency, CAA. Since then, Labeouf has not appeared in a single major studio production. He now lives on the fringe of art house cinema, and the Hollywood spotlight he once ruled has gone completely dark. Jussie Smollett was on the brink of becoming a household name. As Jamal Lyon in Empire 2015 to 2019, he played one of the first openly gay black characters on primetime network TV. By season 5, Smollett was earning $125,000 per episode and was being positioned as a future multi-hyphenate actor, musician, producer. Then came the story that shattered everything. On January 29th, 2019, Smollett reported to Chicago police that he had been attacked at 2 a.m. by 2 men in ski masks who shouted, "This is MAGA country," poured bleach on him, and placed a noose around his neck.
You want to take it off or anything? Yeah, I do. I just want to see it.
Politicians, celebrities, and media outlets quickly rallied behind him, but cracks formed fast. Surveillance footage, inconsistencies in his account, and phone records led investigators to 2 Nigerian brothers who later testified that Smollett had paid them $3,500 to stage the attack. By February, he was charged with filing a false police report. Though charges were briefly dropped in March 2019, a grand jury re-indicted him in 2020.
Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this.
In December 2021, he was found guilty on 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct. He was sentenced in March 2022 to 150 days in jail, 30 months of probation, and ordered to pay over $120,000 in restitution. Fox cut him from Empire's final season. No studio has hired him since. Once framed as a symbol of intersectional pride, Smollett's name is now shorthand for the worst kind of performance, the one no one believes. Chris Evans, for a decade, was Hollywood's golden boy. As Captain America, he anchored the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the first Avenger, 2011, to Avengers Endgame, 2019, earning global respect as both an action lead and a clean-cut patriot. But after hanging up the shield, Evans rebranded himself as a full-time activist, and the shift didn't sit well with everyone. In 2020, he launched A Starting Point, a civic engagement platform aimed at educating voters.
Your website called? What is the
A starting point.
a starting point?
But his political edge sharpened fast. In June 2022, while promoting Pixar's Lightyear, Evans responded to criticism over a same-sex kiss in the film by saying,
"Those people are idiots."
"They're going to die off like dinosaurs." The comment went viral, and not in the way Disney hoped. Lightyear was banned in over 14 countries and grossed just $226 million globally against a budget of around $200 million. According to Deadline, the film resulted in a projected write-down of over $106 million, one of Pixar's worst financial failures in history.
But those people die off like dinosaurs.
Evans doubled down in interviews, calling anti-LGBTQ criticism frustrating and backward. The message was clear: if you disagreed, you didn't belong. His follow-up roles, The Gray Man, 2022, and Ghosted, 2023, received lukewarm reviews and struggled to capture wide audiences. While Evans remains active, he's no longer seen as a unifying figure. Post-Cap, he's alienated, the very base that once saluted him, and no studio has yet handed him another franchise to lead. Mark Ruffalo rose to stardom as the affable Bruce Banner in Marvel's Avengers franchise, where he played the Hulk across 9 films between 2012 and 2022. But outside the Marvel machine, Ruffalo became just as well known for his activism as his acting, and that shift brought a growing wave of controversy. Between 2016 and 2022, Ruffalo used his platform to criticize capitalism, climate inaction, Israel, the fossil fuel industry, billionaires, and even his own Marvel bosses. In May 2021, during the Israel-Gaza conflict,
calling for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza.
Ruffalo tweeted, "Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, calling for sanctions." The backlash was immediate. Within days, he posted a retraction. "I have reflected, and I regret posting it. It's inflammatory, disrespectful, and not accurate." Critics accused him of folding under studio pressure. Pro-Israel groups denounced him, while progressives accused him of backtracking. The apology did little to reset his image. Disney scaled back his visibility. His only major appearance post-Endgame was a supporting role in She-Hulk, 2022.
Oh, I've been away on Sakar for a while. I'll tell you all about it, but first,
a series criticized for overt political messaging and poor fan reception. Outside the MCU, Ruffalo's 2022 to 2024 output has been sparse, consisting of minor streaming roles and passion projects with minimal box office presence. He remains active on social media, calling billionaires immoral, warning of fascism, and describing capitalism as a disaster. While critics applaud his convictions, fans increasingly view him as a political voice first, actor second. As of 2025, Ruffalo hasn't been tapped for any upcoming franchise leadership roles, and Bruce Banner may be the last time he carried the screen. John Boyega became a global star overnight, with his breakout role as Finn in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, 2015. Marketed as a central figure in the new trilogy, he was hailed as a milestone for black representation in blockbuster cinema. But by 2020, Boyega's Hollywood trajectory had shifted from celebration to confrontation. During a Black Lives Matter protest in London that June, Boyega delivered an emotional, megaphone-amplified speech. Tears in his eyes. The clip went viral. Days later, Boyega gave a bombshell interview to GQ.
A lot of black men's eyes that made me cry because you don't get to see that.
Slamming Disney for how his character was sidelined. "You guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley. You knew what to do with Adam Driver," he said. "But what about Finn?" Disney responded quietly. There was no public defense, no franchise continuation, and no future appearances scheduled. While his comments earned him praise online, the industry's response was more muted. Since 2020, Boyega has not appeared in any major franchise film. His projects have largely shifted to streaming. They cloned Tyrone, 2023, on Netflix, and indie dramas like Breaking and The Woman King. Boyega insists this is by design. In interviews, he's said he no longer wants to be part of franchise machine work. Whether it's by choice or quiet distancing, the result is the same. The biggest black star of the Disney sequel era is now operating far outside its orbit. Ray Fisher entered the DC universe with promise. Cast as Cyborg in Justice League, 2017, he was one of the first black superheroes featured in a major comic book franchise.
I'm
But by 2020, his role in Hollywood became less about on-screen action and more about off-screen accountability. In July 2020, Fisher publicly accused director Joss Whedon of abusive behavior on the Justice League set. But he didn't stop there. He went on to claim that Warner Brothers executive enabled a toxic environment, alleging racist and discriminatory behavior behind the scenes. On Twitter, Fisher wrote, "Walter Hamada is the most dangerous kind of enabler. His lies are a part of the problem." In interviews, he framed the conflict through a progressive lens, stating that accountability is more important than entertainment. The controversy took on broader cultural weight in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement, with Fisher positioning himself as an advocate for systemic change in Hollywood.
So it imbues him with super strength, super durability. He can fly. He can interface with anything technological.
Some supported him, but studios didn't. In January 2021, Warner Brothers confirmed he'd been written out of The Flash, effectively ending his tenure as Cyborg. Since then, Fisher has only appeared in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and has not been cast in any other major studio films. He remains vocal on social media, calling for racial justice and industry reform.
He was dealing with a lot of issues. They dealt with a lot of issues, a lot of black issues as well.
But the doors to mainstream franchises have stayed closed. Fisher may have wanted to change the system, but Hollywood answered by pulling the plug. Billy Eichner made his name yelling at strangers on Billy on the Street, then grew his fan base with roles in Parks and Recreation and Disney's The Lion King 2019. But his biggest opportunity came in 2022, when Universal Pictures greenlit Bros.
It's progressive now. Being alone. I love my life. I love my freedom. I love my independence.
The first gay romantic comedy produced by a major studio, co-written and headlined by Eichner himself. The marketing leaned heavily into its cultural significance. Eichner appeared on talk shows describing the film as history-making and tweeted in September 2022, "This is not an indie movie. This is not streaming. This is a historic moment, and we need support."
So this is a love song from one gay cowboy to another.
But when Brovers opened to just $4.8 million on its first weekend, Eichner responded with a now infamous tweet. "Straight people, especially in certain parts of the country, just didn't show up. Everyone who isn't a homophobic weirdo should go see Bros tonight." The backlash was swift. Critics accused him of blaming audiences rather than reflecting on the marketing or the film's tone. Bros ended its run with just $14.8 million worldwide, far short of its reported $22 million budget, and became one of Universal's lowest grossing wide releases that year. Since Bros, Eichner hasn't led another major film. He's returned to voice work and minor supporting roles. While he remains an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ+ visibility, his first major shot at mainstream stardom collapsed under the weight of its own message, and the audience he scolded never came back. Time's up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let us know in the comments. Who's next? We're just getting started.